Round 1. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, 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 and welcome, boys and girls, to the 286th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by 8bit.net and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan 8bit. And joining me today, as always, my podcast ride or die, the Itadori to my Kugasaki. Feeling fully recovered from COVID and all those other ailments. I hope you can find her on them socials at Miss Allie Hart. Miss Allie Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
Doing good. Feeling better. I'm fully recovered. I've got more pep in my step. I ate a burger today. I'm doing fine.
Yeehaw. COVID who? You know, that's so yesterday's news.
Barely knew her.
That's it.
So back at the forefront, like watching stuff, playing video games again. The world is a beautiful place once more.
Just living our best respective lives on either side of the globe here in the southern northern hemispheres. Winter is firmly upon us here in sunny for now Melbourne, but holy guacamole, I've had my first experience of the cold here in Melbourne and also here in my life from... Like, I haven't felt the cold in maybe 4 or 5 years. So it was a bit of a shock to the system this week after living up in Queensland for so long.
Oh, that's right. Well, the penny wasn't dropping for me until then. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Sense. Yeah. But, it'd be fresh this week, Miss Hart. It has been fresh. Low single digits overnight and then low single digits into the mornings and layers on layers. Like, I'm enjoying dusting off some of the jackets and coats that I've owned for a long time that just haven't been able to wear. So it's nice to be, getting those out and about again. But, it has been cold.
Well, we're experiencing June gloom. Which is
June gloom?
June gloom, yeah.
Okay.
It's the gloomy part of June before essentially 6 months of summer happens afterwards. We've kind of been on the cooler side. We have some sunny days, but yeah, there's some grey clouds overhead, which I do not complain about. I pray for rain. Gosh, I miss it. I miss it so damn much. But I'll make do with cloudy weather.
I'd send you some rain if I could because we get an awful lot here in Melbourne. Obviously, the whole 4 seasons in one day. It is a thing. And it's a beautiful thing, but it'd be cold. Not this morning. It's nice today. But no doubt, if you checked in again in a few hours' time, it might be cold and wet. So we'll see. But we've been back doing things different. Obviously, we've dabbled in the greatness that is Fortnite no build a little bit more. I'm not going to touch too much on that. I don't know if you wanted to jump in and share any of your exploits this week and getting them crowns and just being a general badass.
No, not really. Just doing well, getting better, improving. So I'm happy with that. New season starts today too. End of today.
Come and join us, listeners. And if you don't want to come and join us, but you do dabble on the Epic Store, be sure to use content creator code 8bit.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have anything set up in there, ATEBIT, just chuck that in there. And we'll be very appreciative and thankful for you doing that. As far as things, maybe did we want to start with things we've been playing and then pivot into the watch, or do you want to go the other way?
Oh, let's stick with games and then we'll move into the view.
All right. Well, did you want to start us off? I know you've jumped into some new mobile gaming hotness this past week.
Yes, as mentioned last week, my husband was all for Diablo Immortal on the phone. It came out earlier, I think, by a day. So we installed it. Big install for a phone game. Big install. But yeah, I've kind of been playing it on and off as you do with like a mobile game. And I have to say it's pretty impressive graphically how good it is, how pretty streamlined it's been. It feels exactly like a Diablo game, which is kind of impressive. I forgot how long the tutorial kind of start of a Diablo game takes. There's a lot of talking, a lot of follow this person here. Now go back to where you were and follow this person. There's the interesting kind of shared world kind of bit where you're seeing other players running around and doing their thing and running into them and sometimes working together and killing, enemies at the same location and such. There's a very interesting group world dialogue box, and some of the stuff you see there is yeah. I wish I could get rid of it, to be honest.
Not PC.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm rocking a wizard again. I've never really dabbled in anything else. I like my wizard.
The character model did look a little like yourself, I must say.
Oh, well, yeah, I do enjoy that kind of semi-goth look that she's got going on. But I'm trying to remember if there was any more customization to it in the previous, like in Diablo 3, because in Diablo Immortal you can actually change the face and everything like that, and I was like,
couldn't do that
snap.
in 3. Like, obviously I took the plunge last year, somewhere in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I do remember you finally tried it, and
yeah, couldn't change much on the character apart from picking up different armors that made them a little different in game. Couldn't tweak the face.
This is like, a facial appearance was just pretty interesting. It was a pretty cool thing to add to it, and overall my experience has been great. It's great to kind of team up with people and do missions and run the map together and destroy things, and especially when someone is twice the level that you are and they're just absolutely melting people. But yeah, like it's good. It's a good kind of like in between for between Diablo 3, which was forever ago, to Diablo 4, which I think is coming, they're hoping next year, I believe was the last update. It's free. You can play it on mobile. You can play it on PC. Now, I'm going to get my information probably wrong, because at first I thought the only currency it took was just for cosmetic, but I am finding out now it is pay to win. Which is a bit sad. It doesn't bother me too much, but yeah, I am, for people who maybe do not enjoy supporting pay to win or anything along those lines, you may not want to play this game, but overall it's a great experience. It's very, very similar to the Diablo 3 experience, and I don't know, it's pretty good for a mobile game. Especially if you just got some downtime. Full disclosure, I don't use the controls on screen. I decided to sync up my Xbox controller to my phone, and honestly enjoyed it. I feel like it just feels better and it feels natural to me. And
it's a smart way to do it.
I think so. Like it feels right to me. But other people I've been playing with play on like iPads, so I can see where the hand controls might be easier there. But yeah, I think if you're a fan of Diablo and you've enjoyed Diablo 3, it doesn't hurt because it's free. But like I said, if you're against supporting, studios with the pay to win element, just know that that's there. So, but yeah, it's been fun. It's good.
It's interesting. I saw a statistic on social media earlier this week where this is the first like new released game that Blizzard has released in over 1,000 days. It's the longest time in their history between like new game releases. So maybe that's why they've got the old pay to win or pay for power in there, because they're trying to offset all this money from lack of fresh coat of paint for games.
Well, it's interesting that they've still decided to make this kind of decision, especially considering how much issues Activision received in various countries in their loot box. Like they went to courts and everything, and I believe they lost at some places. And
two European countries. The exact regions escape me, but two of them have been banned. So this game isn't released everywhere because of some loot box issues.
Yeah, so I was actually genuinely shocked when I found out that they still kind of added a pay to win kind of element to it, because I thought that would still be, they'd be on eggshells, trying to avoid any kind of negative publicity.
They can't escape it,
no.
can they? But on that thought, like flipping that around a little bit, if this game was let's say $10, I don't know if that's too low or too high, would you pay the $10 like to play this on smartphone, or would you go, you know what, nah?
Like, $10 on a smartphone. I mean, you know what? In the same sense, it's two, like, it's almost like two coffees, depending what you buy.
What if it was 4 coffees? What if it was 4 coffees? Too much then? Too much coffee?
I guess. Like, when you start paying a console price for a mobile game, I think you probably start questioning things. It depends on the longevity. And speaking on longevity, this game does have a battle pass. I'm sure that they have projections for like additional content in the future. Rumor has it it's a 15-hour playthrough. But in the same sense, I don't see myself playing this game for long. I don't see me having the same kind of dedication that I had on Diablo 3 to the sense that I bought that damn game 3 times. True story. But I just don't see me playing it that long. Like, it's a great game, don't get me wrong. Great game, it's fun, it's Diablo, awesome. But I just don't see me having that same level of dedication to this game as to a console or PC,
The vibe I get is that I think what adds to the greatness is the fact that there's no dollar attachment to it as far as barrier to entry. Like, you can jump in straight away for free, so then you can hop in and hop out when you choose, as opposed to if they did say this game costs you $20, $10 or whatever, you've got more of an onus on yourself to probably
make it worth
see
your
it
while,
through and push further.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess there is no risk to the, play for free kind of element to it. But I just don't see me, like, it's the discussion of like buying the battle pass, and I'm like, hell no. Like, I'm not going to play it for that long to benefit from a battle pass. Hell no. It took me long enough to get the battle pass for Fortnite. Yeah, I set myself if I'm still playing this after, like, what was it, 2 weeks? I said then I'll get the battle pass, and lo and behold, we're still here. So
you need to teach me how to have similar levels of restraint, because I'm just like, nah, let's go. Battle pass, I'm in, buying this, and then 2 weeks later I'm like, what was that game again? Except for Fortnite, I'm still invested, but a lot of others, I'm on and off that train very quick.
I think that's it, though. I think it's because, like, there's a lot of people out there where I understand where battle passes make sense. There's, like, people who play Call of Duty. There's people that play Fortnite, and these are all the only games that they play. And it works for them, and they're happy with that. So I can understand why day one you would get a battle pass and why that's a no-brainer. But someone like me who's constantly changing and finding new games and then, switching it up and, sometimes getting bored with games, like, or just really enjoying it for like the first month, and then I just don't care about it, like, actually it's a future discussion that we're going to have in this episode, but like, there's just so many games where I'll see them again, like, we'll see something about Ark, right? And then we're like, fuck, I liked Ark. There's something else that was like, it reminded me of the Hunter game, the hunting game that we played. Yeah, like, and I was just like, man, I loved that time playing that game. But it's just like, it's a past memory, like, we played it like for a solid few months, and then it's just whatever, like, so I think that's why I'm always reluctant to invest in battle passes and all that sort of stuff, because my taste changes, and I'm into it right now, but then I might not be into it in a month from now. So
exactly, like, it's like we're here playing the world's smallest violins. Like, woe is us for playing all these different games and having all these new games coming out. But
to me, it's not a woe.
You gotta be selective with your time.
It's not a woe is me. I can only imagine telling young Ali, like, you won't believe, like, the games that you'll have access to, and guess what? You'll own all the consoles, and you'll have the PC, and you'll just have an endless selection, and it's amazing. You wait for it.
Young Ali would look up at you like you're some, like, mythical god hearing all this. Like, I was in Aftershock yesterday looking at their Omni desks, and I was just there, doing the rounds, talking to Justin there. And there was this little kid, he couldn't have been any more than, I'd say, 10 years old. And we were sort of standing at this desk, and they had like a racing rig set up, and he's like, oh, I think I'm going to get one of these. And we're like, Justin and I sort of looked at each other. I'm thinking to him, like, bullshit, kid, you're 10. These things cost a lot. And then he started talking to this little kid, and I was like, what are you here for? What are you looking at? And he's like, yeah, my mum just bought me this new PC for my birthday. And he rattled off the model of the build it was, and I was sort of standing near one of the ones that have got set up that the mum's bought him. It's a $4,000 PC, and this kid's like 10 years old. And like, he started talking about other things, and it's clear that he's mum works very hard and is probably very successful, and money's less of an object for them. But yeah, like that's the contrast. Like you think of when we were kids and you'd get a game maybe once a quarter if you're lucky, and you'd rent them in between. Where a lot of kiddos these days, they've got all the toys, they've got all the bells and whistles, and like it doesn't mean any less, but they just don't know what it was like a decade or 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago, the gaming landscape that it is today.
And you're right. Like, and that's what I sometimes kind of think about, especially with this Diablo Immortal game, where it's like, I have this game looks exactly like Diablo 3. And when I first initially played Diablo 3, I just couldn't get over, like, I'm like, this is gorgeous. This is such a pretty game. But now I have that on my phone. I have it on this device that I carry with me everywhere. And like the closest we had is if we had enough batteries in our Game Boy and maybe something to carry maybe 2 games. Maybe you have a case that can carry 2 games, and like, you know, like that was the level of like mobile gaming for us as young. And now kids can just, I'm going to play Minecraft on my phone. I'm going to go play Rocket League on my phone. I'm going to play Fortnite on my phone. And it's incredible. We live in an amazing time for gaming, and it's just going to keep getting better and better. And the younger generation are just going to take the step into amazing quality, and just maybe it's good for us. We have that level of appreciation of knowing what like the very start of it is, and just seeing how it evolves. It's a special experience.
I think we're lucky that we came on into this earth at the right time, where we did see these big technological jumps. And I always chuckled about that one scene or that one line that Troy Barnes says about Britta, where he's like, she was born in the 80s. She still uses her phone as a phone. And I'm like, you know, that's us. Where like you talk to some people like, no, I don't do phone calls. I'll text you or whatever. I don't leave voicemail, stuff like that. And I'm like, but that's the basis of a phone. That's what a phone's for. And people just don't use it for what it's there for.
And like making an appointment, like when I got my hair cut, I was trying to figure out what was the phone number to call, to get an appointment, and my husband goes, just message her on Instagram. I'm like, no. Like, what do you mean? No, you call for an appointment.
It's so bizarre. Like you see the shifts, like not in like my 9 to 5 usual job, but like some of the 8-bit related stuff and some of the management stuff I do outside of that, where I'm still very much like, I'd like to have a phone call with you, or book a virtual meeting or whatever, or face to face if you're in the same town. But they're like, no, I'll just message on Twitter, or we could jump on Discord and talk it through. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't understand the world today. This is not how business is conducted, but it is how business is conducted these days. Yeah, they'll DM me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you know, talk shop that way. And it's still very jarring for me to try and disconnect the way that I think business should be done and the way business is done.
Yeah, how it's moving.
90% of society these days, and it's a hell of a time. I sound very old right now, but it's a hell of a time.
It is. It's only something that I guess people of our age bracket is really experiencing. So, you know, we know enough to know that maybe we have to move into it and not be, you know, completely ignorant to it, but we also know the way everything was. So.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of cool to be able to look back and look forwards. Like we're bang smack in the middle, and it's a good spot to be. So yeah, a good spot to a degree, I guess, unless you're terrified of the ocean and the deep sea and things like that.
Yes.
Which is someone I know that I'm talking to right now feels very strongly about. Yes. I started playing Silt this week on the Switch. Fired up the Switch for the first time in I don't know how long. Little indie gem done by Spiral Circus. It's a black and white color palette.
Yeah.
Very simple in its design. Very nightmarish in its simplicity.
Very limbo.
Limbo is a perfect way to describe it. Or if you're a fan of like cinema, like very like David Lynch. If you wanted to compare like film and you want to throw a crazy film out there, think of stuff like Eraserhead, where it's just insane and simplistic and really dream-like in the way this game plays out. You're playing this diver, and you're sort of making your way to the bottom of the ocean. you're not like, I haven't finished the game yet. I've played a couple of hours, but I've been really enjoying it. The story sort of is slowly unfolding as I swim my way through this abyss and deal with all kinds of giant nightmarish hell creatures from the bottom of the sea, like giant anglerfish that can swallow you in one bite, and all kinds of other crazy sea beasties. But like, all you've really got is sort of the light from your deep sea diving or swimming rig. I don't know the term. Sorry, any
Divers.
Professional divers what that's actually called. But you're swimming around trying to explore and solve puzzles and whatnot. But you've got this ability almost where to get through puzzles and light certain areas and defeat creatures is you can sort of like what's the word? Like emit your essence almost, like this sort of worm spirit comes out of you, and you can control creatures and things in the environment to sort of use their abilities or their size or, whatever
like
traits
Aquaman.
they've got to get through certain things. Yeah. So it's almost like this like sea worm that comes out of you, which is very eerie and haunting in itself, thinking that you're sort of slowly expunging your own essence to sort of work your way through this very bleak, very dark, but also gorgeous world. Like the fact that it's just this black and white color palette, the simplicity is stunning, but then it also then just adds to the tension because the sea's scary as fuck. I'm with you.
Yes.
Like deep sea, especially, like if I can't see or touch the bottom in the ocean, straight away I'm like, what's going to get me? I'm fucked. I'm going to die today.
Yeah.
It's been nice knowing you, fellow beachgoers, but yeah, like being down when it's so dark that no natural light gets to you. Like I love watching all those documentaries and it's great, but it's also like very eerie and uneasy knowing that there's all kinds of weird alien types of creatures down there. And this game sort of dabbles with a little bit to do with that, with a little bit to do with just exploration and being sort of almost like a treasure diver in a way. And it's really cool. And having this possession ability to avoid some of the creatures and getting chomped up by their giant freaky teeth and whatever else is really great. The puzzles, they're not too in-depth, which isn't too bad because it feels like it's more about a visual experience, at least the way I'm taking it. Like it's peaceful, but it's creepy at the same time.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But I'm really, really enjoying Silt. Like it's on all the platforms. It's on all the consoles and PC. Came out on, I think, June the 1st, so a couple of days ago now. But it's been really fun, very different to what I've been playing lately. And like you said, like Limbo, where it's simplistic in its aesthetic. You're just sort of traversing this landscape and solving puzzles on the way to a bigger reveal and a bigger story. If you love Limbo, give it a spin. If you do get a bit freaked out about the deep, just forewarning, it can be a bit freaky, but it is still gorgeous and worth a look. Do you think you'd play this, or is it just that world's too much?
I've actually had this game recommended to me on multiple devices. Like, obviously, I have a thing. Like, and most of my gaming shop fronts have recognized it, so it's been recommended to me quite a bit, and I can see why. It's like, it is very Limbo, it is like very spooky but very artsy at the same time. But there's a screenshot that I saw from it where it's like that anglerfish that is like 5 times your size, just like, looming in from the side, and I'm just like, no, I don't think I'll be able to play this one. Like, not a lot of things like, scare me, but the deep ocean does, and just the fear of the unknown, and like, I can't do it. And does your surroundings get darker the deeper in the ocean you get? Because that's another thing that
there is some
gets
areas where you can barely see, like, it feels like a meter or so in front of you, and so you just like swimming very slowly, just edging forward, because you're like, what the hell is going to get me next? I can't see, and it is very intense, and it's coupled really well because the soundtrack, I just had to look up because the name escapes me. Nick Diamond, who did the soundtrack, it's really great. Like, it heightens those moments of tension. And there's like this reverb coming through the speakers and stuff. Like, it is very like, like it's you get the skin crawling a little bit in those moments. But it's really good. I think it costs $20 something. I can't remember exactly. So
That's
it's
pretty fair.
4 cups of coffee if we're going to go with that metric from Diablo Immortals earlier.
The
but
coffee
it's
investment.
really fun.
Yeah. No,
And
it does look good.
I was just playing it in bed, and because obviously Switch is perfect for bedtime games, so I'm going to probably try and chip away and finish that tonight or tomorrow.
Before sleeping, you played that game?
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate in the way that I can switch my brain off in, like, I can watch horror movies just before bed that's the most twisted, warped, horrific stuff, and I can still just go to sleep and my brain sort of just blank canvases what I just watched and I can have a good sleep.
I played Fortnite last night. My husband watched Vikings. I went to sleep and I dreamt last night about a battle royale with his Vikings trying to kill me. Like, that's what happens to me.
Well, there is the Ivor skins from Valhalla in there,
That's
so
true.
there is some connectivity.
That's true.
But yeah, Silt's really, like, I'm really enjoying it. I'd say, like, from my side, it's definitely in that 8-bit approved, stamp of approval there. But if you're looking for a nice little indie that's sort of standing apart from a lot of the recent games that have come out, or if you're a big fan of Playdead's Limbo, from I think it was 2010 it came out.
Quite some
it was
time
a while
ago. Yeah.
This sort of hits those same notes, but you're just down in the depths of the ocean, and it's great. So yeah, I'd highly recommend that. Before we jump down the anime rabbit hole, I also wanted to say that I binged all of Stranger Things season 4 this past week. Have you watched any of it yet?
No, so I've discussed it with my husband. We're probably gonna not watch it yet. We'll probably go back to season 2 and watch from season 2 and try to get through it all so we can watch it. I kind of had Jono explain it through. Like, he said that you can watch season 4 without reference, but there'll just be certain things that you might not be understanding. So I'm like the D&D element of it really has attracted me to like, obviously there was like mentions of D&D, but it seems like it's very evident in this season.
They've lent heavy into it in this season.
Like they've said
as
Vecna,
far as just building
so
out the world and characters.
I kind of need to like get into it, but I think I will try and watch season 2 and 3 and get onto season 4. So
the short version is holy guacamole. This is some amazing television.
Yeah.
It is so good. Like, Stranger Things, first season started off great and obviously blew up worldwide. It was a very unexpected hit for the Duffer Brothers and everyone else attached to it. Season 2 was all right. Season 3 I thought was really, really good. But season 4 is like the peak of its powers, it feels like, this show. Like, it is phenomenal. So there's 2 parts with season 4. We've got the first 7 episodes out now. We've got the later 2 episodes coming early July.
Okay.
But this is a longer season. Most of, like, every one of these episodes runs over an hour at a minimum.
Thank you for telling me that.
Big watch. It's a big watch. And then the final 2 episodes that are coming out on July 1, episode 9, I've seen the runtime for that is over 2.5 hours. So there's some big viewings. They're pretty much like, every episode's almost like watching a movie.
That's intense. It's going to be hard trying to catch up now.
Yeah, like the previous seasons, some of the episodes got close to an hour, but most of them sat in that, 40 to 50 minutes. So it is a lot of content to crunch, but this 4th season is just, a melting pot of all the things that we gush about on this show, like science fiction, horror, comedy, action, D&D, video games, pop culture, you name it, it's all in there. A crunchy soundtrack with bangers from the 80s that you only need to just hear a riff or a line or a drum roll in or whatever, and you know straight away what that song is. Like, fuck
I see
go.
that Kate Bush is the song from this season, it appears, because I'm seeing a lot of the youth use it in their Instagrams and stuff. Oh God, I'm sounding old.
It's funny because my first connection to that song is actually the Placebo cover of that Kate Bush classic
from 3000 was it 30 Days and 30 Nights? No, what's the zombie movie?
30
Days a Night? No.
Oh my God, 28 Days Later.
That's it. I think 30 Days 30 Nights is a dating one.
30 Days of Night is another horror. That's the vampire one in Alaska where obviously there's those moments where there's no sun for
okay, yeah, no, I think it was the one that you said, but I know the Placebo song was for one of those kind of like dark kind of vampire-ish movies.
Yeah, and a random nugget to accompany this placebo song is, I heard it for the first time due to being part of my school's Rockestedford. Remember when Rockestedford was the thing?
You got to go to Rockestedford?
Yeah, it's funny, and humble brag or slight embarrassment, I don't know, but I got initially asked to be like the lead in our Rockestedford in year 12.
What?
I said no, and I ended up running like the back, like the production crew instead, because I'm like, I'm not dancing. I can't dance. I've got no rhythm. I'm from the town in Footloose. Like, I can't dance at all. So, I said no to that. But that song was like part of like one of the big moments in our performance. So when I heard it playing through in season 4, I had like this flashback to the early 2000s and Rockestedford, and because we were the runner-up for Rockestedford. Like, we came from a little country town and, beat all the schools from Sydney and New South Wales. And, we were the runner-up that year. So, good times.
Never did Rockestedford. 7 years of classical trained ballet, and I never did Rockestedford.
Missed moment there, Miss Hart.
Yep.
Missed moment there. But, Stranger Things Season 4 is phenomenal. One of the best things I've seen on television this year. And they've really gone for the horror elements this season. Like, it's always been, treading the line of creepy and campy and kooky. But in this one, they really go down the creepy route. And there's some horrific creatures, some horrific deaths, some crazy, like, death animations, and just overall violence and nightmare fuel on the screen. And it's great, like, because obviously you're seeing, it's sort of weak, easy comp here that I'm just pulling out of my pocket. Like, you think of like the Harry Potter films where like it starts whimsical and the kids are young, and as it gets older the tone shifts. Just like with this, like the kids now are, in their teenage years. I'm assuming they're around 16 or so in the show now, so they're becoming young adults. So the tone has shifted a little bit with the show, but it is so good, and I can't wait to see how this season finishes up, because season 4 Part 1 ended on a huge cliffhanger with a huge reveal, and I'm very excited to see where they take it for these last 2. But Miss Hart, you gotta get on the Stranger Things train. You gotta finish season 2 and 3. Yep. Oh well,
yeah,
so good.
I'll get to it.
It's so good. Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of it. It is awesome. It's just, all the things that we love, and a lot of people that listen to this show and a lot of friends of ours love, all just embodied in this show across those 7 episodes. And the cast is great, and it's just awesome. It's awesome. So check that out when you can. But I figure we'd shift into the anime side, Miss Hart, before I throw the microphone over to you and you can actually talk some anime for once. I wanted to test something live on this podcast. You haven't been vetted about this, but I'm working on an infrequent segment that I'm just going to bring out once in a while when I watch some stuff, and it's going to be called To Weeb or Not To Weeb.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to give you like a synopsis of a show I've just watched, and you're going to tell me like if you'd watch it or if it sounds enjoyable.
Okay.
So you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So it reads, a girl in a lower grade just made me cry. One day Senpai visits the library after school and becomes the target of a super sadistic junior. The name of the girl who teases, torments, and tantalizes Senpai is Nagatoro. She's annoying yet adorable. It's painful, but you still want to be by her side. This is a story about an extremely sadistic and temperamental girl, and you'll feel something awaken inside you.
Oh!
So that's the synopsis for the show called Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Would you join me and weeb on that one, or are you out? Are you
what year
thumbs
are
up
they
or
in?
thumbs down? So they're high school, like they're 17 or so. So the guys, let's say the guy's 18, she's 17, or 17 and 16. So they're of age.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. It just sounds like another little like rom-com and, misunderstood character of some variety kind of thing. It definitely would not be on the top of my list.
Okay. So your thumbs down on Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thumbs up. I am weebing on this one. I binged this season this week. 12 episodes, easy watch, cute, quirky, fun, very 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 whimsical and light in tone. But it's nice to sort of see, like, I know it's a bit tropey, and I've watched a lot of these rom-coms and slice of life shows the last couple of weeks and months, but This was fun. It had a interesting sort of cat and mouse going on between just the lead guy who just gets called Senpai by everybody, which obviously means master in Japanese. He's just this lowly art student, just trying to become a good artist, and he's just getting terrorized by Nagatoro and her friends. And obviously, you know, does the attraction build? Is there actually chemistry there? And this poor guy is just introverted, not familiar with dating and just females in general, and just trying to navigate that minefield while also getting tormented constantly by this girl and her group of friends. And it's fun, and it was just easy watching. And there's parts in this show that I legitimately was laughing out loud. Like, there was some piss funny moments, and just it's really, really well written. The voice acting's actually really well done. I actually watched this with the dub, and the dub was actually pretty rock solid. And yeah, it's just a good old time. It didn't overstay its welcome. I'm excited for the second season to see what happens with Senpai and Nagatoro. But yeah, I'm definitely weebing in to weeb or not to weeb. I'm giving it that thumbs up, but you're out. You're not even going to check it out before it starts.
I just Googled it. I'm getting very Love Hina vibes from it. So yeah.
Excellent comp. Yeah, that works.
Like, I watched a bit of Love Hina, but it definitely wasn't my thing. I did learn the intro on keyboard. Yeah, I admitted that on a podcast. But yeah, it's still not for me.
Just deadpan. So good.
Yeah, so
good.
I'll probably pass on that.
But it's fun. I'm going to bring this out infrequently. Like, when I watch something new and it's got a good little synopsis, I'll throw that there, and you can just give me that sort of hot take. You thumbs up, you're in, or you're out. So watch that. And I've just been watching my other usual rotation as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to throw it over to you, because you are walking very proudly through the doors into the Weeb Hall right now. Fill me in on what you've been doing.
I've watched Jujutsu Kaisen.
Damn straight.
I heard enough about it, and I think a few episodes ago I told you that my husband was looking at the movie. He loaded up the anime, and little things caught me, and like he usually does, I kind of gravitated towards it and started watching it, and I really enjoy it. It has that element of that I'm gonna have to learn what the actual term is, where it's like people with abilities learning to use them. We're already getting to a part where it seems like different schools are gonna battle each other, which is my thing. It's what I love about My Hero. And it has this wonderful balance of very serious, hardcore action, maybe a little bit of gore, but then this perfect balance of comedic timing and sweet moments and wackiness that just blends really well together. And some great characters, some quirky characters, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually having a really good experience with it, and knowing that I'm actually technically going to be up to date with it once I finish, because the next season isn't going to be available until next year. So I'll have to watch the movie though, I'm assuming after I finish the season. So but yeah, this one stuck. I actually really, really liked it, and can understand why it's probably being really well received.
It's so good, isn't it? Like, you nailed it. Like, the tone, I like that it can jump between comedic and lighthearted to pretty dark and heavy, because, you know, this is a school, you know, the occult club that are trying to what's the word? Exercise. They're pretty much exercising demons and getting bad curses off people, and just the assortment of characters and just how different they are, yet they all intermingle and mesh really well. And what did you find with the art style? Like, some of the combat, like where you get sort of these, you know, vibrant like watercolor strokes, like during certain moves and stuff. It's really pretty to watch.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous, and like it goes back to that kind of balance of seriousness and wacky, because like there's moments where they're having this very detailed fight or a very intense scene with, like, you know, a big bad or something like that, and then next thing you know, they're going to move to this next scene to this character that you've been taking serious for this entire time, and next thing you know, the character is just, you know, dropped to a very simplistic outline form, wiggling in the most simplest and like animation style ever, and it's funny, it's quirky, it's like it's just good. Like usually I don't like it when seriousness and wackiness kind of blend in because it really sends you through loops. Like it feels jolting. But what they've done with this anime, it works perfectly. They know when to be serious, they know when to add the comedy, and they know when to kind of mix up the two where it can be enjoyed either way. So I actually really, really am enjoying Jujutsu Kaisen.
It's a banger. Are you watching sub or dub?
Watching dubbed.
That's fine. The voice working, it's really good.
It is good. Someone from Critical Role, or that appeared in Critical Role, is actually doing a voice in it too. But yeah, doing dubbed because my husband watches dubbed. So I'm getting all English actors, voice actors. So
I ain't judging here. Like that's how I consume my anime because that way I can still tinker on my phone or work or whatever at the same time.
Sure.
So I get you.
It's not bad.
And when it's a good dub, it's great.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I'm actually like it hasn't bothered me yet.
I'm very excited to see what they do with Itadori. Like I'm not talking any spoilers, not talking any plot, but just knowing what he's got going on with him and inside of him. It's very interesting to see how it's ultimately going to end up because there's certainly some things lingering around him constantly, and it's super slick and super stylized, and I haven't watched the movie yet, but I'm going to try and hunt that down over the coming week because it's still not on Crunchyroll, the film. So
okay, so I have time
for that to drop on there. Yep.
Cute.
But 24 episodes, plenty of Jujutsu Kaisen for people to consume.
I think I'm about halfway through, maybe. So
nice.
Won't take long.
Nice.
They're nice and short. They're short episodes. After talking about a 2-hour episode of Stranger Things, like a short, short episodes are refreshing, easy to get through.
It's like 6 to 7 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen or 1 episode of Stranger Things season 4. It's like, yeah. But it's a good time. I'm happy you've checked it out because it's well worth a watch. It's one of the better anime that I've consumed over the last few years that have sort of popped up, those last couple of years as far as new additions to the rotation. So I'm excited to see where you go next after this one, you big old weeb.
It's definitely not Kill, that's for damn sure. My husband watched that.
Which I think's fun, but anyway.
Behind the curtain, my husband watched that one too, and I just listened to it and it sounded ridiculous, so I won't be watching that one.
It's pretty great, but it's certainly not something for everybody.
Definitely not.
All right, quick bit of housekeeping before we start moving our way through the usual news gauntlet here in THG 286. Obviously, if you want to support us monetarily, you can do so over at ko-fi.com/we-are8bit for low price of $1 per month or 1/5 of a coffee. Using that metric, that's the standard there. You can get access to exclusive perks, giveaways, and content. If you want to get yourself some merchandise, obviously shop8bit.net is our central hub for all things merch with 8-bit. You can get yourself hats, hoodies, tees, singlets, and a whole host of other things that will keep you warm or cool, depending on where you are in the world. Obviously, we are still running a giveaway for an ATH GL3 gaming headset from our friends over at Audio Technica. To enter, all you got to do is screenshot yourself, leaving a rating for THG or any of the 8-bit-centric podcasts on Spotify. Slide into our DMs at We Are 8bit. Show us that screenshot with that review there. Or if you want to email it to us, hello@8bit.net to go into the draw, and we will announce a winner on next week's episode. So episode 287 of THG, we will announce the first winner of a new ATH GL3 gaming headset, which comes in white or black too. So if you've got a color preference or an aesthetic preference on your gaming headset, you can choose if you want that nice sort of Arctic white or you want to go the midnight black. You've got the options there. But Miss Hart, let's jump into this.
This week's news headlines.
And the first little banger, which we've been talking about a lot offline before we recorded this morning. You went down a nice Twisted Metal rabbit hole, which I'll talk to you about in a second. But we've got some more Twisted Metal casting news coming out this week, with Will Arnett confirmed as the voice of Sweet Tooth, where professional wrestler Samoa Joe will be providing his likeness/body. So Samoa Joe is going to be playing him in the physical sense, and Will Arnett is going to be voicing Sweet Tooth, who, if we wanted to get nitpicky, the ice cream truck's name is typically known as Sweet Tooth, and the driver is usually known as Needles, but, it's sort of interchangeable depending on the game too. So Sweet Tooth is just, I guess, the main stalwart of Twisted Metal. He's the angry serial killer clown that drives an ice cream truck and just wants to be known as the best, biggest, baddest serial killer in history. But yeah, Will Arnett's going to be voicing him, and big old Samoa Joe, from currently in AEW and wrestling for every other promotion before that, is going to be lending the likeness. What you think on this one, new Twisted Metal expert?
I'm going to give a shout out to Jono, Australia's Jono Peck. I had no interest in Twisted Metal, nor did I know much about it to be interested in it, and just a conversation, over the chats, and Jono completely convinced me that I would love Twisted Metal. He told me details that no one ever told me about Twisted Metal. He told me about the stories and the characters and everything about it. And then I myself decided to watch a few little video sequences about the backstories of these characters, and I'm all on board now. No one told me that there was like serial killer, murderous, bad, horrible people with dark backgrounds trying to redeem themselves with wishes and all that sort of stuff about this series. I just thought it was a bunch of cars like shooting each other. So I am now all on board. I've been watching all these videos to know their backstories and how messed up their lives are and stuff, and I'm all on board now. Like, I'm for it. I'm going to be the biggest Twisted Metal TV series fan there is. But yeah, I know who Sweet Tooth is.
I feel very bad that I didn't sell it, because we've been talking Twisted Metal the last month or two, I'd say, maybe a little bit longer with this live action announcement. And I guess there was just a part of me that I just assumed you knew. Like, I thought this was a game you would have played because of that darkness and kookiness and creepiness.
Nope.
But I didn't expand on that more, and I feel bad. So I'm sorry that I let you down and didn't get you hyped earlier, because it is a very interesting and twisted world here that is in that game. And I'm excited for seeing it realized on the screen. And, we talked offline about, will this potentially jumpstart a reboot? Will we get a sequel? Will we get some new Twisted Metal coming our way in conjunction with this show? Because it is a hell of amount of fun playing this game. I really enjoy it, and I've got some really fond memories of running over people and blowing up people.
Well, yeah, as I explained to you, I always thought it was just like a little, bunch of cars just shooting at each other, and that was it. And as I said to you, I'm like, why would you play that game when you can play Carmageddon? So. I was very misinformed on what Twisted Metal was and all the other stuff that kind of came with it. So I'm curious now. I want to learn more about it. So I guess if anyone out there are also Twisted Metal fans, what are your favorite characters? What's the best?
Yes.
What's the best Twisted Metal game? I'm very curious. I'd like to kind of dive in a bit more.
World Tour is my favorite.
World Tour.
And I'm just going to say my main character I usually played as with either Spectre, but primarily I was playing as Thumper, which was like a pink Cadillac. It was like this gangster guy driving it, and the special ability of Thumper was it had a flamethrower shooting out the front of it. So if you could sort of wedge in and smash against the car and just hit that flamethrower, it was just you were cooking,
incinerated.
And they were in a world of hurt. But some of the there was different degrees of difficulty playing certain characters, because some of them just had abilities where they just shoot a missile or whatever. But then you could play Mr. Slam, which was like a big construction vehicle with the big, what's it called on the front? Like the digger. I think it's the digger, whatever it is, where you grab that and you'd have to line up perfectly to grab the other car and you slam it on the ground. And it was really hard to line up and get done. So if you're a good Mr. Slam player, you'd feel like a bit of a badass.
See, there's more characters I'm going to have to learn about too. So yeah, let us know on the social media. Tell me your favorite characters or what your favorite version of Twisted Metal was.
Yeah, we'll chuck that up on the socials between now and when the next episode, this episode comes out, because it'd be cool to see how many other Twisted Metal fans are out there, and who was your main?
Yeah,
who was your main on Twisted Metal, and in what iteration of Twisted Metal? But yeah, World Tour was the touchstone for me, and yeah, I killed my mum and my sister and vice versa many times in that game. It was fantastic. All right, the next bit of news. To celebrate Pride Month, Xbox is releasing a brand new controller design that incorporates 34 community flags. The flags are in a fine, interwoven manner to celebrate the nuance, complexity, intersectionality, and strength of the many LGBTQIA+ communities, explains an Xbox Wire post. Last year, Xbox created a limited number of Pride controllers, but many players wanted it to be universally available. This year's controller will therefore be customizable in the Xbox Design Lab. But this isn't just a controller. It's a symbol of the LGBTQIA plus communities that inspired it and a call to continue efforts towards inclusion and representation across all gaming spaces, reads the post. The controller will be available from June 9th via Xbox Design Lab, but Xbox has other Pride celebrations planned too. If a controller wasn't enough, there's also a Pride merch collection of apparel available from the Xbox Gear Shop. Microsoft will also be donating $170,000 to LGBTQIA plus non-profits. So, this controller, it looks stunning and it's great, and I love the messaging and the reasoning and the community flags that it interweaves into the design itself. But obviously this came out last year, but it was only sort of sent out to select content creators. So there was, some great spotlighting of this controller that came out last year, but it's nice that Xbox have since opened it up to say, if you want to get this controller, you now can through the Design Lab. But it's also nice to see Xbox, as well as a ton of other devs and publishers, coming out and supporting Pride Month, which is a great time, and it's awesome to spotlight things like this. And yeah, it's just good to see. It's just a good story.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they've actually made it accessible to everyone, because I could only imagine just how kind of how disappointing it would have been to see something that was meant to be a representation of something personal to you, but then it only being exclusive to certain people. So I'm glad everyone's going to be able to get their hands on it, and I'm glad that there's actually some donation that's actually going to be going out too. So it's a month to celebrate Pride and being respectful to everyone around you. So yeah, just always be mindful, listen to what other people have to say during this month. The representation matters.
Totally agree. Like, equality is a year-round thing. Like, it's great we have Pride Month, but just be, as you said, Miss Hart, be mindful and be respectful and be inclusive no matter where you are and who you're with. We're all human beings at the end of the day, and just be better. And if you want to get yourself a great controller and contribute to good causes, this is one of the ways to do it from a video game perspective. All right, the next bit of news, I've just titled this one, "Who Doesn't Love a LeChonky Boy?" So we had a new trailer revealed this past week highlighting Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which has now been confirmed to be released on November the 18th. The trailer shows off a lot of the new mainline Pokemon games world and introduces two new legendary monsters, Koraidon, who appears in Scarlet, and Miraidon, who appears in Violet. These two Pokemon are said to have powers that far surpass those of other Pokemon. Read the description on the Pokemon website, but further details about Koraidon and Miraidon are still shrouded in mystery. Very ominous, very what's going on there? We've already gotten a look at the game starters, the grass cat Sprigiato, the fire croc Fuecoco, and the water duckling Quaxley, but this trailer reveals a number of new monsters too, including a teary-eyed truffle pig called Lechonk, a grass normal type based on an olive called Smoliv, and Pawmi, a new electric mouse Pokemon. The trailer also included a look at two new professors, Sada and Turo, who appear in Scarlet and Violet respectively. We also got a look at Nemona, the player character's new friend, who is an experienced Pokemon trainer and serves as a reliable guide for you on your adventures. As previously announced, these will be the first fully open world Pokemon games in the series. However, what we didn't previously know was that Scarlet and Violet would see a very different structure too. The site confirms that the games include a world that you're free to explore at your leisure and not in an order dictated by the story. We also learned that the games would include 4-player co-op alongside the normal trading and battling multiplayer options. So Miss Hart, Scarlet and Violet with the juicy 2-ish minute trailer, a lot of hype came off the back of that. Obviously, it showcased the two legendary Pokemon that you're going to be competing for and no doubt battling and having some big story-based moments against in Scarlet and Violet respectively. But yeah, the internet has certainly latched onto Lechonk as the undisputed MVP of Pokemon Scarlet and or Violet. What did you think of this? Did this game get you excited, or this trailer get you excited? You're going to be jumping in on November 18 to play some Pokemon Scarlet or Violet?
I mean, like, I always think that I'm going to play it just because, like, usually when these kind of Pokemon games come out, I usually jump on board maybe for every second or third one that maybe gets released. I'm still not sure which one I'm picking because I think me and my husband will do one Scarlet, one Violet. But I haven't really seen much information out yet on what the difference is between, because it's usually exclusive Pokemon more than just the legendary. They've said that obviously what you wear is different, but I haven't seen much else to actually make a full-on decision on which one I want to pick. 4-player co-op.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sort of go into much detail, and you only sort of see it, a couple of times in the trailer, but it's like your respective Pokemon trainers kitted up how you've designed them, which is cool, that your unique customizations will come into, I guess, one person's going to host the world, I assume, and maybe you can join them on quests and battles, or just have a good time. So I like that element. Like, I'm not liking the thought of having to try and use, Nintendo Party Chat to talk to my friends during this and have 7,000 adapters and everything else going on, but I think it could be a fun way to get players back into or existing players more hyped for Pokemon, where you can do it together as opposed to just trading and battling. You can actually maybe experience some of this story in this world together.
It's good to see that they're moving away from linear story and being kind of set on a structured path on how to experience the game. So I'd be interested to see exactly how open that is and how free you are as a player to kind of dictate how you play the game. And yeah, those additional characters, additional Pokemon that got announced. I mean, Lechonk is just good naming, right?
It's
like,
great,
it's just like they said it's a pig, let's call it Lechonk. And everyone was like, I'm on board. It's true. He's chunky. He's a chunky boy. Oh, that's great naming. But yeah, I probably still will play it, regardless of which Pokemon are announced or whatever. So
that's it. It's coming out at a good time. Like, obviously the back end of this year, it's still pretty barren with big AAAs, with so many delays and still games just out in the ether as far as will they, won't they in 2022. So I'm excited to jump in. I think I'm going to go Scarlet. I like the look a little bit more of Koraidon as opposed to Miraidon with the two legendaries. But
see, I was looking at Violet more.
Yeah. Well, that's good because then we can trade.
Switch, yeah.
We can trade unique Pokemon between us. But a couple of other closing thoughts on this one. Another electric mouse Pokemon.
Yeah, I thought
like,
that too.
on.
I thought that too.
Do we need another one of these?
I'm like pig that we called Lechonk and Olive. And I'm like, that makes sense. And then electric mouse Pokemon because we don't have enough. So.
But also, I wanted to shout out the Professors Sada and Turo. I think there was many sexual awakenings happening during this trailer because they are both far too attractive. I'm never gonna leave the first zone. I'm just gonna be hanging out at the professor's office the whole time, just trying to perv and pick them up, whichever one it might be. They're both very attractive.
How far have you gone in the game? Still at the professor's office.
That's it. Just very thorough. Just exchanging a lot of notes. Sadly, it's not phone numbers, but so Pokemon Scarlet and Violet making its way to the Nintendo Switch on November the 18th. We'll probably get a few more snippets and reveals over the coming months as we make our way towards November. But the game looks good. I love, as you said, the non-linear story, the multiplayer in it, all things that are going to add some value and new wrinkles to the tried and true Pokemon formula. So let's go.
Yeah.
All right, the next bit of news. Who you're going to see at Summer Games Fest is what we've called this one. So earlier this week, Jeff Keighley and co shared some of the plans for the third installment of Summer Games Fest, which is airing obviously on June 9/10, depending on where you are in the world. The event will stream digitally on a variety of platforms, followed by the Day of the Devs SGF Edition event, which will include new announcements from Us2 Games and an assortment of indie developers, including a contingent from Japanese indie organization Asobu. This is the third year for Summer Game Fest, which began in 2020 when the pandemic forced the Entertainment Software Association to cancel E3, the industry's primary summer gaming showcase, or former primary summer gaming showcase. Obviously, the ESA returned with a digital-only event E3 last year, but cancelled the 2022 show, citing ongoing pandemic concerns. So the list of companies participating in the main Summer Game Fest show follows, with additional participants to be also announced in the coming days. But for now, the list sounds and reads like 2K, Activision, Atlas, Bandai Namco, Bloober Team, Capcom, Coffee Stain, Deep Silver, Devolver Digital, Digital Extremes, .emu, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Focus Entertainment, Frost Giant Studios, Humble Games, Level Infinite, Mediatonic, MiHoYo, Netflix, PlayStation, Raw Fury, Samsung Gaming Hub, Sega, Skybound Games, Square Enix, Steam, Studio MDHR, Tribeca Festival, Warner Bros. Games, and Xbox. So, holy guacamole, do we have some announcements coming from the who's who of video gaming there? Obviously, a few notable omissions like Ubisoft, no Nintendo, things like that. But we are getting the two primary pillars with Sony or with PlayStation and Xbox, and then a whole host of other fantastic developers or publishers there. So plenty of content coming out. And the crazy thing is this week coming, Miss Hart.
That kind of snuck up on me in discussion of just like, it's next week, Ryan. No, it's not next week. No, it's next week. It's, oh, shit. We're already there. Yeah. We're already... Yeah, and then this is when we start seeing like a full-on tirade of all these kind of gaming showcases from studios and such, kind of, showing what they have. So it's an exciting time. It's an anxious time, and I'm sure all the studios and all the people working hard behind the scenes are very anxious, and I hope that they're able to show off their hard-earned work and get enjoyment from the audiences reacting. So I don't know why, but the list, while it has some impressive studios, it feels like it's like, I don't know, it feels like some stuff is missing. But I can't wait to see, like, obviously Devolver Digital every year. And interesting to see other mentions of Samsung Gaming Hub and Netflix. Yeah. I saw the announcement that The Rock is going to be there. So do you reckon he's going to start announcing like movies? Maybe they're going to announce a Black Adam game to accompany the film at the back end of this year. Yeah. I certainly know he's not going to announce that he's going to be co-starring in Arc 2 with Vin Diesel. That's for damn sure. Because they hate each other's guts. Oh, well, Rock clearly hates his guts and Vin just wants his boy back. But it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah. We should try and see if we can figure out why he's there. What's the thing? Oh, did he signed on for something, right? Like an adaptation? Oh, for It Takes Two. Remember, his company's tied into It Takes Two. Maybe that's it. That's it. Maybe. There you go. I just wanted to quickly sort of sandwich in our question of the week here, because I figure it ties in nicely with all the upcoming events. And this one comes by way of at GC Fabio over on Discord there. And he's saying, Obsidian are presenting something at the Xbox Showcase, which is obviously going to running on June 12/13 for us here in the AU. But apparently it's not avowed, with Outer World 2 so far away and grounded in early access. What do you think we might see? So I put my thinking hat on about this one a little earlier, and I'm wondering if they're going to try and swing for the fences a little bit and get a bit of hype with all things Xbox, and say maybe we're going to get Fallout New Vegas 2 announced by Obsidian at the Xbox Showcase. So that's where I'm going to push my chips into, or my chips in the table in the middle for. I'm going to say Fallout New Vegas 2, or whatever they're going to call it, the sequel to Fallout New Vegas. That's what they're going to announce next weekend / Monday, depending on where you are in the world. So that's what I'm going to say Obsidian are going to do. Have you got anything you want to throw? You got a hat in the ring you want to toss as well? No, because like I am thinking, like, if it's not avowed, which is meant to be something that they really should be highlighting again, I guess, as a person that kind of says that they don't like it when you're kind of force-fed a game that you're not going to get anytime soon. But I guess it's not a grounded 2 either. So maybe that's actually probably a really good guess by you. Another Fallout, like a Fallout New Vegas. But then will it just be like a? Do you reckon if they did, do you reckon it would just be like a screen and that's it, like nothing else?
I don't think it'd be much. Yeah, like because they've got clearly a lot of things going on at the moment. Like the only other one I could think of is maybe another South Park game, because obviously South Park have signed these crazy deals with various production companies where they've got decades of content still planned and future games planned. Maybe we'll get the next iteration where obviously we've had the Lord of the Rings sort of D&D archetype, and we've had the superhero archetype with South Park and the themes. Maybe they're going to go to a third iteration. I don't know what sort of area of pop culture they'd parody for a future one, but maybe we might even get into South Park.
I always thought South Park was just strictly linked to Ubisoft. I completely forgot that Obsidian, Stick of Truth was good. Stick of Truth was good. It should be interesting to see either way. I'm curious. Yeah,
I'm very, very curious to see, but we don't have to wait too long for that one as well. No. Obviously, like sadly, we'll be recapping Game Fest, but I don't know what we're going to do with some of these other showcases that are sort of dropping up. Maybe we'll try and look to do an episode earlier in the week instead of the usual Monday drop to sort of coincide with some of that. Maybe not, but yeah, plenty of showcases coming our way in the coming week plus. The last bit of news actually covers off another showcase. Obviously, we had the latest PlayStation's State of Play just drop in the past 27 hours at time of recording right now. And there was some hits. There was some misses from a personal standpoint as far as some of the things that were showcased. We had a couple of big reveals and announcements, and I figure we'd sort of just go through them. We could sort of mention the headline, a couple of hit points, and then sort of jump in and deep dive and throw some thoughts back and forth where applicable, or maybe where it got us excited. And the first one that I think we can collectively agree on as far as, oh yeah, let's go. Resident Evil 4 Remake is officially on its way. It's going to be released on March 24, 2023. Capcom is looking to reimagine the storyline of the game while keeping the essence of its direction, while modernizing the graphics and updating the controls to a modern standard. PSVR 2 owners will also be able to look forward to some type of VR content, although no further details were given at the time. So, Resident Evil 4 Remake on the way. I think we all knew this was coming. I think it's inevitable. They're working their way through the greatest hits, and this looks awesome. I cannot wait for this. Like, Resident Evil 4 is probably my second favorite Resident Evil game of all time, I'd say. I bought a GameCube specifically to play this and Resident Evil Remake back in the day. So I cannot wait to see this thing reimagined and running on new hardware, looking terrifying and gorgeous at the same time.
This was my first Resident Evil game. So
this was your first?
Yeah, so I was kind of spoiled, and like, you know, it's probably, yeah, of all the ones that I've played, it was definitely still one of my favorite memories of playing it. I like the environment. I like the story so far in it. But I don't know if it looked that polished.
How dare you?
I don't know. Like, I saw those like elements in the trailer where I was like, oh, that still looks a bit rough. But I mean, it's not coming out till next year, so they've got time.
I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see, because yeah, this was such a pivot to the usual Resident Evil formula, like going more action oriented, over the shoulder camera. The controls are a bit smoother, going away from the traditional zombie to the Ouroboros Las Plagas whole situation. There was freaking awesome. Obviously the grain sack wearing chainsaw wielding maniac, terrifying, and obviously
having
the
react
location,
to cutscenes.
Yeah, the quick time events, and obviously you're trying to save the president of America's daughter.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So as you do all of the day's work for Leon, and just some of the reveals, and I don't want to talk story because some people might not have played this. I don't want to spoil cool moments in the game itself, but it looks cool. I'm excited. This is already on my radar as one of the games to be watching and playing in 2023, and it falls into that February-March window we're getting used to with these Resident Evil games too. So bring it on. Staying on the Resident Evil train, Resident Evil Village is getting the VR treatment. So RE Village will soon allow players to visit its world in a brand new way, as it will be made available for PlayStation VR 2. And yes, it will be the complete campaign, which is huge. It's not just a side event. It's not just a little bit of nothing. You can play the full game in VR, and VR will also let players guard by actually lifting their arms, and will give them the option to use different weapons in each hand for even more combat opportunities. So I think there was a cool moment where the old mate has the shotgun, and he's got the pistol in the other hand. He's just like, it's the combat's going to be sped up to suit this sort of dual world mechanic. But I'm keen as a bean. What are you going to say, Miss Hart? Where are you going?
So I've had a big smile ever since we started talking about the VR Village, because I couldn't help but notice that the majority of the VR experience that they showed was with Lady Demetress and her.
That's it. She's going to be sucking on your hand and stomping on your in VR, like just all us poor souls have been longing for since this game came out. The start of last year.
You wanted it, you got
everyone's
it.
fantasy is becoming reality.
I just couldn't help but notice that was really what they focused on a good chunk of that the VR kind of trailer experience that they were trying to display there. And I'm like, they know exactly what they're doing.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're very smart, very smart. It was all about Lady Dimitrescu and her daughters and just being giant, sexy, tall vampire women that are gonna fuck you up in a whole host of ways.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting because obviously with VR you're seeing the floating hands as your control style all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, poor old Ethan Winter's hands, they caught more punishment than most. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out when they're right in front of your eyes. So I'm interested. I'm going to give it a go. I don't have the highest of hopes. I love VR, but I've sort of cooled off on it. I was watching the State of Play again this morning, and I'm like, VR's cool, but it doesn't sort of move the needle as it once did for me. But hopefully stuff like this will help.
Yeah. If there's anything I learned from this State of Play is I'm getting too damn old for games where everything I kind of watched, I went, that's going to make me sick. That's going to make me sick. Poor old eyes.
Well, hopefully the announcement and first gameplay trailer for Street Fighter 6 will not make you sick. So obviously it's been announced for a 2023 release window coming on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Capcom provided fans with an extended look at the gameplay for the latest entry in the legendary fighting franchise. Street Fighter 6 actually being built on Capcom's RE engine. Obviously, that's the same engine that's been used for Resident Evil 7 and Village, and it will allow for improved graphics alongside a more stylish experience that will be filled with explosive splashes of paint and the striking graffiti treatment. So they've showcased Ryu, Chun-Li, Luke, and newcomer Jamie, who are part of the initial roster. They've sort of roughly alluded to potentially almost like an NBA 2K My Career situation going on. Yeah, your fighter, you couldn't really see them. They had a hood over and it was always shot from behind, so you couldn't see the face. They were making Hadouken noises, very Ryu voice, but not the Ryu build. This was a baby Ryu when you're talking about how big Ryu is these days. But it looks like, you're sort of walking around this potentially big open world and interacting with NPCs and maybe real characters that you could fight. I don't know, but it looked cool, and I really loved those paint splashes and graffiti things happening with big moves, where it coated the floor or the graffiti trail was flowing behind Chun-Li as she was doing certain special moves and stuff. It looked really slick and really stylized.
It felt gimmicky to me. It felt like something that you would kind of come to expect maybe in the early 2000s, maybe. It looked cool, but I think you would get over it for pretty quickly, especially when we didn't see it much change in style. But I it was a quick trailer, so maybe there is more to it. But just for me, I was just like, that was a choice.
The logo choice is still a thing. I noticed that on there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that stock logo debate we had a couple of months ago. Yeah. So they've stuck with it. They've doubled down.
Well,
but
they've mixed it up a little bit, but yeah, the base elements are still there.
But yeah, new Street Fighter, and it's not a PlayStation exclusive, obviously, which was what Street Fighter 5 was. So we're going to be able to play that with Xbox and PC if you want to go that way too. The next bit of news, Horizon Call of the Mountain will let you experience Horizon in a whole new way. So yeah, it gave an extended look at Horizon Call of the Mountain's gameplay, which is coming exclusively to PSVR 2. In this new story set in the world of the first two games, players will become a former Shadow Kaja warrior named Ryas, who is looking to redeem himself by investigating a grave new threat to the Sundom. He excels at climbing and archery, which obviously are both great for VR, and will have to do such things as scale perilous mountains and taking down mighty machines like the Thunderjaw. Even though players won't be seeing this world through the eyes of Aloy, they will run across them and other familiar and new faces along the journey. It looked pretty. There was it looked like this was one where I'm like, yeah, maybe VR, maybe I'm a little bit more excited than I was just a minute ago. It looks nice. Obviously, it's a game in a universe that I adore, so it certainly made me feel emotions, thinking, okay, I can experience this in a different way. And it looked very polished for a virtual reality game.
True, yeah.
And I'm curious to see how it plays out and how long the experience is. From what I can understand, it's a full game, so you're going to get maybe 6 to 8 hours potentially of VR experience in the Horizon world, and fighting these beasts in first person will be a whole thing. And so I'm just curious to see how the fluidity with the movement is going to work, because in Horizon you're rolling and jumping and grappling here because you're getting clapped from everywhere, and how are they going to try and offset that and the potential risk of motion sickness from that? But it looked pretty. I'm keen. On the back of that, they also announced a free major update, which is available right now for Horizon Forbidden West, which had New Game Plus, Performance Mode, and also Transmorg, which more games need to have the Transmorg option, because sometimes you find a set of armor that might have the best stats, but might look like a piece of crap, and vice versa. You can mix that up to make it work for you. So plenty of Horizon-related content, which I am keen for.
I mean, it looked good, but obviously wrong tree for me. VR, and then obviously it being Horizon, but yeah. I'm happy for Horizon fans, especially with New Game Plus as well.
We appreciate you. Okay, so the next piece. The Callisto Protocol's gameplay trailer has confirmed a December 2022 release date. So we got a gameplay trailer that's not only shown off its horrifying world in very, very gory detail, but also confirmed that the game will be released on December the 2nd of 2022. So this is awesome that we've got a game that not only looks great, it's going to be scary as shit, but we get it in 2022 for now, touch wood. Hopefully it doesn't slip and no delays occur, but this was one of the wins of this state of play for me. Seeing this gameplay and seeing it's Dead Space on a frozen prison planet, really, and I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, it took me a little too long to kind of figure out what the hell we were watching when the trailer started, but I was pretty impressed by it. It looked pretty frightening, and there was little elements here and there that were very reminiscent of other space horror, but I was pleasantly surprised by this trailer. I was actually quite shocked by it. Looks good.
It looks great, and some of the creatures and just the movement of the creatures in certain scenes, just oh yeah, this is going to be a scary, scary time. And it's not on the docket, but just I feel it's a very stark contrast, because they dropped another couple of minutes of Scorn gameplay this week, which is a horror game that you and I are pretty keen for.
Yeah.
And that trailer, it was 2.5 minutes of nothing. It feels like that game is in development hell in a big way, because this game, Callisto Protocol, sort of came out over nowhere in the last 18 months, and now it's coming out at the back end of this year, where Scorn was announced. We thought it was going to be a launch title almost for the Xbox Series X or S, and it's still out there, and we're seeing nothing more than little walking simulator demos and creepy interactions with doors.
It looks good every time. They share snippets all the time on social media, and every time they show it, I'm just like, oh, that's gross. It's awesome. But yeah, maybe we'll see some more at the Summer Games Fest. Maybe. Yeah,
or the Xbox Showcase. Maybe I'll be eating humble pie in a week and a bit, because we get a massive big Scorn reveal. But yeah, Callisto Protocol. I'm hyped as hell and can't wait to play that at the back end of this year, in the festive season. So we also Stray has had a release date alongside the announcement. It will be free for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium members. So Stray, which is the much anticipated game starring a very adorable cat, will be released on July 19th of 2022. As I said, it's going to be included in a couple of the tiers of PlayStation Plus. So the game itself, like, I don't know, like, it looked interesting. The fact that it's included as part of your membership, that's a good hook for me, because if this game came out and it was like $100, I'm like, I wouldn't pay $100 to play it from what I saw. Like, it looks cool, and there's probably a lot of platforming and whimsicalness as being a cat in this like futuristic robotic world, but it didn't move the needle for me a ton. But knowing that I can get it part of my paid subscription, cool, I'm in. I'll play it that way.
Yeah, no thanks. It, like the environment looked good. The environment looked cool and the robots looked adorable, but I have no interest in this cat game.
Well, that's okay. We're more dog people anyway, so that's fine. That's fine. The next little quick hitter, I don't need to probably dive deep on this one at all, but Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales will swing to PC in 2022. They're both making its way there on August 12th. So any PC players that haven't got a PlayStation 4 or 5 and played either of these fantastic games will get the full PC experience with a sexier coat of paint in about 2 months' time. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Always good to see these titles that make it to the PC. So we'll see another wave of people streaming it.
Yep. And on apologies, Spider-Man Remastered will be making its way to PC on August 12th, 2022, but Spider-Man Miles Morales will be released a little later that year. We don't know the exact date, so just wanted to confirm that. The next one, No Man's Sky will fly its way to PlayStation VR 2. It looked cool. I'm like, okay. But is this the one you alluded to earlier when you were like, we had a great time and got great memories, but I'm not really motivated to go back? Because that's how I was feeling.
Yeah. Like I watched watching this little trailer for VR 2. Like when I saw that was for No Man's Sky in VR, I went, oh, holy shit, because I could only imagine how much I would vomit playing that game in VR. I envy people who would be able to experience it. Maybe I'll just go to my little planet that's just covered in rainbow bubbles and just hang out there where it's safe. Yeah, like No Man's Sky is just brilliant. I could only imagine the VR experience, but I'm just like, I'm way too old for this one as well. So, yeah, like I said, I envy people who will be able to experience VR of No Man's Sky to its full potential. It
would be a fever dream, like just knowing like those warp speed transitions where you're sort of blasting off planet, like having that in VR, and you're just like, whoa!
Not to mention just all the maneuvering you have to do in your spaceship, especially if you're being chased down by like, you know, space pirates or whatever. Like there's some pretty, you know, like the maneuvering in the spaceship, like anywhere. Like I can't even do it with just the normal experience. I'm crashing and going all over the place, and then just I could imagine the head spin of doing it in VR. Oh.
Yeah, it would be an awful lot, no doubt. But yeah, it looked cool, and yeah, I'm intrigued by it. Will I go back for it? Maybe just to taste it when I get a PSVR 2 and use it for a month and then never again. But yeah, it looked cool, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see No Man's Sky still continue to go from strength to strength.
Yeah,
because obviously, you know, we've talked about its very staggered and busted release to begin with, and seeing it now reimagined and having continued success is awesome. The next bit of news here, Season: A Letter to the Future will be released in autumn, US autumn obviously, of 2022. So Season: A Letter to the Future takes place in a village safe from the turmoil of changing seasons. One day a woman named Estelle decides to leave and embarks on a journey to explore a world on the brink of change. So we got a showcase of the gameplay in the trailer, and Season is all about exploring, recording, meeting people, and unraveling the strange world around you. Players will also be able to travel on a bike and use tools to learn about this world you've never seen before. So it looked cool, like a nice little fun, I guess like walking/riding sim, I guess you'd call it, but it looked cute and very interesting.
Yeah, this looks like one of those nice kind of chill, relaxing kind of games to play. The art style was very beautiful. The music was lovely and just very calm and relaxing. And the overall story concept, there was moments where it sounded pretty grim, but overall it just sounded very lovely. So this one was on my radar from a previous event. I think it got announced. I think it may be last year, possibly. So it was good to see it again and see that it will be coming this year, and it hasn't, hit too much of a delay or anything like that. So one of those nice relaxing games that's going to be on my radar.
Most definitely. A game that's not on either of our radars is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. It's been announced for PlayStation VR 2. Cool. Don't care.
Looked rough.
Looked very rough. It looked like it was an old conversion from an
game.
arcade cabinet from the 2000s.
Yeah, it did look like that.
Yeah, no thanks. But I will also say thanks for Eternights, a dating action game set in the apocalypse.
Shakara.
Give me all of the anime action dating sims where there will be 5 quirky and lovable characters to fall in love with, and you'll be able to explore their backstories when you aren't knee-deep in dungeons.
Because you're not knee deep
There's
in their
also an
backstory.
ever-ticking clock that will force you to make choices and prioritize loot or love.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The game itself and the premise sounds dumb, but it also sounds like it's right in my current wheelhouse as far as...
Definitely hitting your interests.
Yeah, it's ticking all the boxes, but this is coming out on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and the gameplay slice they showed in this demo and this trailer was all from gameplay captured on PlayStation 4. Why? This is old tech. Show it singing on a PlayStation 5. This game's coming out in early 2023, so it's very well far down the development cycle. But why are we seeing old gen highlighting this game? I want to see this romance in the ability to press R2 to hold a hand on the PlayStation 5, not PlayStation 4, please, Sony.
R2 hold hand. To me, it looked like a mobile game, to be honest. Yeah, to me, it definitely looked like one of those games that kind of has already reached mobile. And yeah, it was shown on PS4 for some choice, so that's why I'm thinking it might still be a mobile game, maybe. But yeah, definitely not my thing.
But you know what? If I can hold hands, if I can snap game action romance game, I'm down for that. If I can poo and romance at the same time, let's go. Oh gosh, choice words. All right. Choice words.
Next.
All right. The next one, the futuristic skater shooter Roller Dome making its way to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 this US fall, and that is from Ollie Ollie World's Roll 7. Cool. It reminded me, it felt like this was an extended scene from the movie A Scanner Darkly. I expected to see
I remember that movie.
Robert Downey Jr. or Keanu Reeves pop up in this on roller skates and just zing by. Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember anyone else in the cast apart from that. Very, very unique movie for its day. But this didn't really move too much. So it's we're sort of I guess it's set in 2030, and it's focusing on a brutal new blood sport called Roller Dome. So you're cruising around on your roller skates and shooting skills, and you've got to rely on your roller skates and your shooting skills to rise above the competition, constantly moving and taking advantage of every ramp. Look to be the key to victory, because you're using guns to shoot other roller skaters in this looks like the warehouse level from Tony Hawk, just
yes, I got some Tony Hawk vibes from it. And I also got the damn my old eyes wouldn't be able to handle this game vibe from it too. Yeah, it looked like it was trying to do something cool and unique. We actually have seen this is another game kind of based on roller action. There's that game that's gotten released the start of this year, which is I can't remember the name.
Oh, the free-to-play one that was done by Ubisoft.
Yeah, the one where you're skating. You're essentially doing derby, but then you've got a ball.
Roller champions.
That's it. So seems like a little niche is kind of being hit here. It doesn't really pique my interest, but it's good to see little studios getting a mention in these big PlayStation events. So
yeah, it looked cool. It just just not for me, and I guess it's not for you, but like the art style was very unique, and it sort of stood out in that way on this state of play compared to the rest of the games because, aesthetically was very different. The next one, we've had Tunic, which obviously has been on the Xbox and PC since March, is making its way to the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on September the 27th of 2022. So in a little over 2.5 months' time, you'll be able to play Tunic if you haven't already on Xbox and PC, which is a fantastic little homage to Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. Absolutely adorable style and beautiful music. Shout out to Jono who finished it. Glad he persevered through it because getting the message saying that it was surprisingly difficult, and I was like, oh no, I hope I haven't done a bad recommendation. I still recommend play Tunic. So anyone that's missed out with owning a PlayStation, definitely jump on in September.
And if you've got an Xbox, it's included in Game Pass, so play it now.
It's true.
And the state of play was closed out by Final Fantasy 16. Get the latest trailer, and it mixed in a ton of gameplay and some summons. We saw icons as well as ones from broader Final Fantasy history, including Phoenix, Titan, Garuda, Ruma, Shiva, Odin, Bahamut, and obviously Ifrit. So Final Fantasy 16's protagonist, Clive Rossfeld, also featured in this dominance trailer, in quotes they call it, and it showed how he and his team will take on the many enemies that will undoubtedly get in your way in the game's story. Also revealed that Final Fantasy 16 will be released on PlayStation 5 in summer 2023, so we're talking, June through potentially August here for people in Australia. The game can currently be played from start to finish, and the team is using all this time from now until next June to polish the game the best they can. So the universe, it looks like they've sort of gone back in time a little bit, real like medieval vibes as far as the aesthetic going on here. I still don't understand what in the Christ is going on. Like Final Fantasy games, you sort of just watch and
try and put the pieces together.
Hang on as best you can. Yeah. Like, I'm a bit sad we didn't get anything about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. That's what I was hanging for because I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy VII Remake. But this looked crazy. The combat looked frenetic. It almost had like some like Mushin Dynasty Warrior type of vibes where there's just combo numbers flashing everywhere and you're flying across the screen, swinging your sword, and there's enemies flying all over. Like, it felt a bit overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
But it looked pretty, and it's more Final Fantasy, so people are going to buy this and eat it up like mad next year. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16, nice bit of gameplay slice to close it out, and Clive Rossfeld, which I think I caught has a random cheek tattoo, I think, from the trailer, unless it was like a scar or, I don't know, some soot from Ifrit, obviously who's a fire god. So I don't know, but I thought he had like a random like black cheek tattoo for some reason. I'm like, yeah, that's a choice.
Okay. To full disclosure, when Final Fantasy came up on my screen, I started tuning out. So I didn't catch that, but
yeah, it was overall, 28-ish minutes, I think this state of play ran for. They had a pretty good pace, a lot of good showcases and reveals. There wasn't any downtime realistically between most of it. It was just bang, 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 which is good. That sub 30 minutes. They were very conscious of the viewer's time, and some big reveals there. Like the Resident Evil 4 remake was the biggest one I took away from it, but then sticking on that horror path, the Callisto Protocol is probably my second favorite announcements from this.
Yeah, that was definitely probably the shocker of all of it. So, but yeah, for me it was kind of meh. Although when it did finish, I was like, oh, it's over. So yeah, it wasn't the worst. There was some interesting stuff there. I'm even though a lot of the stuff wasn't for me, I'm appreciative that we're starting to see more and more about VR again. So yeah, that was good to see.
Yeah. And we'll probably get we've had PlayStation confirmed for Summer Game Fest for this Friday/Thursday. So we might get some things unyet seen from this last state of play. Maybe we'll get God of War Ragnarok reveal, or a bit more of a deeper dive on PSVR 2 or some other things. So we'll see what Jeff Keighley and co have got cooking next weekend. So that's exciting. But if you're looking for other things to do this week coming up before Summer Game Fest, we got you covered.
New releases and events.
last shout out to John O'Peck for this episode. He's getting far too much praise. It's going to go to his head. Like, his hair is already big enough. Like, if his head gets in line with that hair now, it's going to be trouble. It's not going to be healthy. But Putting in Work has made its long-awaited return to the podcast airwaves, and he's got an episode available right now, which he's chatting with Lachlan, who's a 2D animator who has worked on such things as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Marvel's What If. So it's a great discussion there. Check that out on Putting in Work. We've also got some new episodes of Bitecast dropping this week with a couple of one-on-one episodes with Benny McJanet as well as Marcy from Super Network there, sharing all things sweet and tasty with myself. As far as new TV shows coming out to the streamers, couldn't really find any, but the main one, I guess, would be the 4th episode of Stranger Things, and also then the 4th episode of The Boys, because The Boys Season 3 just dropped overnight too, so get in on that when you can. You still haven't watched any Boys, have you?
No.
Do it. Go. God
I
damn
think
it.
it's been spoiled quite a lot for me too, to be honest.
Fuck, that sucks. I'm so sorry. As far as movies coming out this week, hopefully this movie doesn't break my heart, but Jurassic World Dominion, the 6th movie in the franchise, which they're saying is, wrapping up the story of the last 5 films. We've got the original cast coming back with the new cast to do all things crazy, zany, dinosaur related. Please, to the love of God, be good, please. But that's coming out this week. As far as games, if you want to play some stuff this week, we've got Spellforce 3 Reforced coming out. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, making its way to the Nintendo Switch. Pro Cycling Manager 2022, if you're that way inclined, is coming out this week.
Or
if you want more biking stuff, Tour de France 2022 is also out this week. We've also got the Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles on the Switch popping up as well. Mario Strikers Battle League is coming out on June the 10th. That crept up very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play that, actually. It looks like a ton of fun.
Are you going to have time?
Hope so. I'm doubtful.
Especially with this one.
Yeah, the next one. The Quarry coming out this week as well on all the platforms. So we'll have some impressions and opinions on The Quarry on our next episode of THG. So THG 287 will give you some spoiler-free reviews on our thoughts on The Quarry there. But yeah, plenty of content there coming out. And we'll sort of end with the tweet of the week and a little bit of an introspective or a follow-up from last week.
Tweet of the week.
And this just comes by way of the 8-bit social media feeds at We Are 8-bit, and we just wanted to sort of get a bit of a temperature check on what upcoming PlayStation adaptation has got you the most excited. So obviously we're talking about God of War, that's going to be on Amazon, Horizon Zero Dawn on Netflix, The Last of Us, which is making its way to HBO, and Twisted Metal, which is making its way to Peacock.
You fan.
And yeah, you'd vote for Twisted Metal now after you've gone deep in the Twisted Metal lore and getting cozy with Calypso and Co. and everyone else there. So
it's going to be my next podcast. Getting cozy with Calypso and
Co.
Co.
That's so good. That's so good. I was going to say, and then you could have. I thought for a second they were called Calypso Frost. I'm like, no, they were Calippo Frost. That wouldn't work. Anyway.
Oh, are they called Calyppos? Oh no,
Yeah.
I've given wrong information.
You've been calling them Calypsos? No, they're called Calyppos.
Oh no. Anyway, how did we go? With the poll?
Yeah, so circling back, and with a resounding 67% of the vote, the nation is saying that The Last of Us is the TV show to be most excited for from the Sony slate. Coming in equal second, actually, God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, and then rounding it out with a lowly 3% of the vote. Poor old Twisted Metal.
It's missing one vote, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll add that and say rounding it up to 4-ish% of the vote or whatever it might be, Twisted Metal. But yeah, The Last of Us makes its way to HBO sometime next year, is the winner. Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of episode 286 of THG. Anything else you wanted to shout out or mention before we close this sucker down?
As Twisted Metal's #1 fan, I'm just going to tell social media, just to tell everyone out there to check our social medias. I want to get those opinions out there. Tell me your characters. Tell me everything about it. I want to know more. I want to grow fat with knowledge. So let me know.
Most definitely. And I want to know, like, because you haven't played any of these games yet, because I want to know who you, like, your favorite character, like, as far as who you've studied up on so far? Who resonates most with you?
I'll report back next week.
Okay. Yeah, we'll unpack this and a lot more on THG 287. But 8-Bit Nation, that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thanks as always for stopping on by. Your listens and rating reviews mean the world to us. But until next time, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.
It's a long-ass episode. It's the longest one we've done in a long time.